Welcome back to the Rebel's Edge, where we're talking about a big rally today. And why are we rallying so big? And why do we have so many deals being announced? Well, I guess the market's not going into the shitter, folks. Come on back from the break and we'll tell you all about it. All right. Well, Pete, what do you think?
I think you still got me snickering about what you just said.
You know, if we were on one of those four-letter business shows, I'd say the same thing. It's cable for a reason, folks, and it's streaming for a reason. But welcome back. I got the liquor cabinet back there, sort of the bar cart, ready to roll.
That's a nice looking tequila behind you.
But I haven't been nipping at any of it today.
Not today.
I had to emphasize today.
Yeah. All
right, Pete.
All right.
It's just not the Rebel's Edge unless we have the clapper.
Yeah.
It's not the market unless we have a little volatile trade here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say for our macro today, Pete, it is that the president's saying, look, we're either going to get what we want now, which is 1,000 pounds, I guess, of this yellow cake uranium that they've got stored in the mountains, or we're going to lock it away for all mankind forever, along with whoever's down there with it. So you guys decide. But with that thrown out there, people think the end of the war is getting closer, Pete.
Absolutely. And there's no other thing that could stand in front of the macro of that, John. And I totally agree with you. I mean, the president out there talking about this and a willingness to end this war and get this thing moving forward again. All of that, I think, is on the table and being talked about. And I'll tell you what, it's been aggressive. And I think that why else would we be up as much as we are right now? I mean, we've had some up days before, but this one feels a little stickier right now. You've got the three major indices all ripping to the upside. Nobody's kind of falling back. And that's kind of what we have seen a little bit, John. They move up and then all of a sudden somebody gets a little bit weaker. But as of at least right now, people, I think, are pretty convinced that the president is a man of his word on what he's saying. And there's a willingness still now to end this war and get it done. And they obviously April 6th, that's the date that everybody's looking at, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, because of that and because of their belief that maybe we are getting closer to that, Pete, we're seeing your VIX down double digits today. That's something interesting as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, watching the VIX and the, how long it took for the volatility index to get into the 20s. And now, obviously, over the last month, we've been hanging above the 20s, into the upper 20s, I should say, and even into the low 30s. And you can see that right on the chart. But the fact that we were up and right around that 31 level just yesterday, pretty substantial. Now down, anywhere between 10, 11, 12%, something like that, depending on the moment that you're looking. But into the 27s and maybe even the lower end of the 27s for the VIX. Might not sound like a big deal. I would say it's actually a pretty big deal. So seeing that volatility come out, and I'll tell you, if indeed we are right on the macro and this thing happens maybe even sooner than April 6th, that volatility index, my guess would be we would be in the very low 20s rapidly from the levels that we are right now if something like that were to happen soon.
Well, let's hit a prediction here, Pete. And the prediction was about U.S. tariffs on China, on Kalshi. And as you can see, the betting line is it's about 78%, Pete, think that it'll be between 10% and 20% tariff on China, despite whatever the Supreme Court or any other court might say about it. It seems that that's more and more likely based on the betting that we're seeing on Kalshi anyway.
Yeah, you know what? It gets pretty interesting. This Kalshi and these predictive markets, I think, are just amazing. And it just gives people the opportunity to take a look and see, what does it really look like right now? And you know what? And money tends to open some of that window up a little bit so we can see. And it's interesting to see exactly what's going on there. So it's very much like everything else that you and I talk about, whether it's in the stock market, whether it's in the sports world, or in this, we're talking about the global economy. It's going to be very interesting. And I think Kelsey's probably right.
Yeah, I think there is going to be a tariff on China, and it will continue to hurt sales of Chinese goods in the U.S. All right, Pete, let's hit Apellis, because Apellis Pharma is up 130+% today, because apparently Biogen wants them bad enough to bid that much for the company. $41 a share. Which is about $5.6 billion. And there's also, Pete, another kicker if they hit certain milestones that they would get. So, as we've said many times, a lot of these companies, as they get closer and closer to a delivery of a treatment, whether it's a cure or a treatment, it seems like Biogen really wants this one, Pete, because to bid this much over where the stock was last night, is a big reach.
It is. Although the one thing that does stand out here, John, is these guys at Apellis have really come through very nicely. They've got 2 FDA-approved medicines that are extremely significant when it comes to, one of them is in kidneys and the other is in blindness. And those are already out there and making money. So that's a good thing. They've got 3 more products that are sitting there right below that at the phase 2 level that makes it pretty interesting as well, because they've obviously done a very good job. They've gotten a few approvals already. I just talked about those 2. And this boosts the Biogen commercial portfolio that much more. So is it a lot? Yes, absolutely. $5.6 billion is an incredible number. But this is an acquisition that clearly they view as, hey, this isn't the end of it. And they've got more behind it. And they probably are expecting more approvals going into the future. So I like what Biogen's doing right here. I think it's expensive, but I think they're making the right move to get themselves positioned into these categories, and there's more to come.
Yep, I got to believe that that's true, Pete. And for Biogen, is a $5.6 billion bid a big one? It is. It is. They're a $26 billion company, Biogen is. But so to spend basically, call it 20% or more of your capitalization on an acquisition like this, that means they really view this as a lot of potential for them. So yeah, they're not the only one today though, Pete. We've got a couple more that we'll talk about in a minute, including, of course, we have Lilly out there spending as well. But let's talk for a moment about Virgin Galactic, because we haven't talked about this one forever. Why? Because it's not really a space company. Yeah, they can take people to the edge of space in what looks like a glorified jet, or even an X-1 rocket or X-15 or whatever, but it's not really a space flight, right, Pete?
Right. It's interesting, John, because the reason this stock is moving pretty nicely to the upside today, I mean, they've got some shorts, so the shorts are not feeling too good about this. About 23% of their stock is on the short side of things. So they did report some mixed numbers as far as the Q4 is concerned. The revenue was up 35% year over year. That was something that I think people liked, that side of things. Lower operation expenses, so that's a positive. I think right now, John, what's really happening is they're getting swept up because of the fact that we're talking about the positive sentiment of what's going on, and you've also got the SpaceX IPO coming out, and so people are kind of putting that together. Whether that's right or wrong, that's what people are doing. And so, you take a look at this and you say, well, launching commercially is not too far out into the future, and they are burning some of that free cash flow is a free burn flow because they are burning some of that pretty quickly. But right now, I think they are just getting swept up, John, because of the fact that people are viewing it, like you were sort of saying, people are viewing this as something probably more than it really is. And I think that's maybe part of the issue here. That's why I probably wouldn't be touching this one on this big move to the upside.
Yeah. And, if you look at Blue Origin, which is, Jeff Bezos, or SpaceX, which is Elon Musk, like Pete said, these guys out of their back pocket, either of those two guys could buy this thing if they ever wanted it. And why would they want it? It's not a rocket like the kind that Elon uses or that Bezos uses. It's just, you get into this thing, I guess, Pete, and just like the X-15 back in the day, you just, they drop it from a plane and then the booster kicks in and it goes to the edge of space and comes back. It's $172 million. SpaceX is not 10 times bigger, not 100 times bigger, 1,000 times bigger. So nobody's thinking this is anything but just a fool's errand by, Branson, who has just watched and seen this investment just piss lower, Pete.
Yeah.
I mean, it was $114 in 2023. It's $2 today. Two. This
a lot of burn.
Yeah, this thing is going down.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about another, Pete, which is Marvell. Not going down, going up. And you mentioned that, hey, what is it today that people are feeling like spending money? I mean, obviously, any day that ends in Y, Jensen Huang is willing to spend a couple $2 billion apparently because he found another spot to put $2 billion, and this time it's with Marvell. And Marvell is reacting with a double-digit gain today.
Yeah, we've had some unusual in here on multiple different occasions, John, and it's been pretty accurate, I would say, in terms of some of the time frame as well as the upside. I mean, this stock has made some nice strong moves even before this most recent move. But yeah, when you've got Nvidia there and they're basically giving you, the everything positive that you'd want when you listen to Jensen Huang talking about it, and the $2 billion partnership that they are forging together here, expanding the strategic partnership a little bit more. They're doing everything they can for the AI world, the next generation data centers and all the rest of it. I mean, you put all that together, yeah, that's going to pull Marvell up pretty substantially. It was up as much as 11% today. I'm not looking at it right this moment, but certainly this is one of those things that I think people are looking at and saying, you know what? There is some positives left in the AI world. It's not completely done, which is what so many people have said, John. But if that's the case, I think that they not only are they wrong, but they ought to take a look and see that, the NASDAQ today, well, how's that looking? Well, it's only up 400 points, but, not so bad, about a 2% move to the upside, give or take. So, yeah, I would say that the AI is there's a lot of folks that are trying to bang against it and say, no, no, no. But I think there are more that are saying yes, yes, yes. And there's still plenty of room to the upside for a lot of these various names within AI.
And Marvell's one of those huge winners this year, Pete. I mean, there's a lot of stocks that people focus on and they say, oh, the Mag 7 this, the Mag 7 that. When you look at Marvell for the year, and like you say, we've had multiple hits on this one. We even had a put buy about a week ago, Pete, that worked out pretty well because of the market in general moving to the downside. But if you look at this one this year, back in January, this was an $85 stock. Today it's $95. And just a couple of days ago, it was $98 or $99, Pete. So that was Thursday or Wednesday last week. So Marvell's been doing okay. I would keep an eye on it, but I like it. Lastly, let's hit McCormick Spice, Pete. So McCormick, Chicago-based company, or at least it was. I don't know if they've stuck around or not, but they're apparently going to spend a lot of money to buy Unilever's food business. And they're excluding certain markets. Why? Who knows? But this seems like kind of a slap together deal, Pete. And not a lot of people in business really think it's a great move by McCormick because they had good earnings until they announced this. Stock looked like it was going to be trading to the upside. Then they announced this, and it dived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it took a pretty decent dive too. I mean, look at that, relatively speaking, to where this stock has been, and then all of a sudden you see that it's already been cascading downward, and now it's testing that $50 area basically. So, you know what? I wonder about this one as well. I'm like you, John. I don't find this one to be as intriguing, and there's obviously the results that we're seeing, at least as of right now, basically being down anywhere between 8 and 10%, I guess, on a deal that's a pretty big, monstrous deal. And it seems like, that there is some generation of some real money here. They're talking about the idea that it could be $20 billion annually on revenue. So there are some positives to take away from it, but is it the right time? Are they doing the right thing? And I think that if people are voting with what they're doing right now, which is selling the stock, I would say people, they're going to basically say, prove it and show me. And that's what we're seeing right now, is a stock that has taken a pretty decent beating, all things considered, after some pretty good earnings beats that they already had put up.
Yeah, well, let's hit a little sports then, Pete.
Yeah.
Sports today, we have somebody that put the ball in the upper deck, not just the first balcony, but the third, basically, out in this stadium. So take a look at this one, folks. Just knocks it out of the park.
Oh,
I mean,
my
look
goodness.
at this, Pete.
Are you kidding me?
He
This
got all of that.
Is on way out of here. One of the longest home runs in the history of this ballpark. I don't think a ball's ever landed up there.
That's awesome. That is great. Well, I'll tell you what, that takes a lot of strength, and the guy hit the thing just right. I mean, he must have seen that thing when it was coming at him. My guess is it looked like a basketball.
Caught the fat end of the bat on it too, Pete.
He did. Fat end of the bat, and he got that thing way out there, John. Speaking of basketball, let's just jump over to the NBA. I mean, that's unbelievable. Here's something that you and I are probably guilty of this too. I know I am. I don't want to throw you under the bus, but, everyone always wants to know who's the next Michael Jordan. Who's the next, everybody always says, because he is the GOAT, and anybody who says different is an idiot, by the way. I mean, if you ever hear anybody say LeBron, you know that they have something wrong with their brain, because he's not even top 20, but that's something else. Anyway, the next Michael Jordan, John. All right, so I went through the NBA and I wanted to see, all right, who's really popular, who's somebody who's really unbelievable as far as their abilities. And here's a couple of them. You've got Luka with the Lakers. You've got SGA over there at OKC, where everything is an acronym. Jaylen Brown with Boston, great player for sure. Harden's over there now with Cleveland. He's been at I think he's played at every NBA team that there is. At some point, he and the beard are going to have to go. But he's been a good player. And Steph Curry, it is amazing how the guy can shoot from absolutely anywhere on the court. I mean, it's really, really amazing. And I don't even say that as a guy who's a huge fan, but it is amazing, and he is damn good. But I think the closest guy, and I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, is Anthony Edwards. So what has Anthony done so far in his career, John? 6 years in the NBA. You know how old he is? 24. He's been in there 6 years, and he's 24 years old. The guy was the first pick, first round in 2020. In his career, he averages 35 minutes per game, because like Michael Jordan, this guy does not ever do any of the BS where he sits out to try to rest and all the other stuff. As a matter of fact, he's ashamed of the guys who do that, which is very much like Michael Jordan. He's averaging just under 25 points a game. This is for his career, by the way. 80% free throws, 37% from three, and he in every year that he's played so far, 6 years, his three-point percentage has gotten better at every single year. He's up to 40% now shooting three-pointers. So unbelievable, I think. I think this guy is a phenom. I'm not saying he is the next Michael Jordan, but I think he's the closest thing that I've seen, because he's still young. He's got a hell of a lot of time. He's got an interesting team here with the Timberwolves, but we're just always a player away. But he is pretty daggone special, John. And I just figured, you know what? Is there anybody on that list or anything that and they could be even a while ago, it doesn't matter, who is as close to Michael as you can think of? Because you and I both know Michael a little bit, and the most competitive player I think I've ever seen on the planet in anything he does, and all he does is win. Well, just take a look at what he's doing in NASCAR right now. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, right. Well, SGA, you said, Pete, of active players playing right now, I'd say SGA and Luka Doncic or Doncic are the two best. Mm-hmm. They both average over 31 a game. Mm-hmm. So if you're putting up that kind of points per game, that kind of production, that's one of the many things that Michael could do. Now, Michael always was a rebounder as well as a defensive player, a blocker, and all the rest. Assists, yeah, triple doubles and all that kind of thing. That's what Michael was. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, like the rebounds and assists, you'd go over to Jokic out at Denver, Pete, and you might say, that's pretty damn good. He doesn't score the same kind of points that Michael did, but rebounds per game, about 13, assists per game, almost 11. So that's a guy that's helping you win each and every night he's out on the court. But I think since it's a scoring game, I think Luka and SGA and Anthony Edwards are probably the top three picks to be, I guess they should probably just have a Michael Jordan award, Pete. That way we'd never have to do it again as far as, who's the GOAT. Just say, okay, who gets the Michael Jordan this year?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the other thing too, John. He was the defensive player of the year in 1987. This is a guy who's the shooter, he's the rebounder, he's the assist guy, he's all those things, and defensive player of the year. I mean, that is pretty amazing. I mean, the guy played both sides, he did it all, and I don't know, that's a big reason why, and he didn't ever do any of this BS where they sit out, which is just a crock of crap. But It is what it is. All right, next up, NFL. It's kind of fun, John, because as we're getting a lot closer, we've got the draft coming up. We've gone through a lot of the free agency, obviously, and so forth. The next thing after the draft and the camps start to get going and all the rest of it, we got Hard Knocks, which for the people who haven't had a chance to watch it, it's always kind of a fun thing, right? Is to just see the inside, see what the players are doing and what it's like and all the different things that are out there. And, it's an inside look that you get, and it's great. So who's going to be the team this year? The Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. That should be pretty cool. And, we'll get a chance to see what it's like inside of a Super Bowl winning teams, the locker room and the social life, and Mike McDonald, who's the head coach, who does a great job. And, a quarterback who in his first year getting over there, all of a sudden brings these guys to the Super Bowl. It's just, it was an amazing story last year, and I think Hard Knocks will be fun. By the way, the following year, New England. So that could be pretty cool too. And I think, when you get Mike Vrabel and May and some of the players that they've got out there, that's going to be pretty colorful. But I can't wait for it, man. And then, you know what? It's amazing how many people watch stuff like Hard Knocks. It's not like it's just guys like you and I who played ball. It's everybody. And it's a big deal, man. It gives you that inside view, and it's pretty special to do that. What do you think of this whole thing with the Hard Knocks? Do you like it as much as me?
Oh, I do. And I think it's a real priority right now, Pete, because they got to replace Walker, who was and is a great player. But there aren't a lot of running backs when they get to be that age that have a great next 4 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I understand that they said, okay, we're going to move on. We're going to find one. Now, there are a couple that you've talked about going through the combine, and maybe a sleeper or two like that kid from Arkansas, Pete. Yeah. The running back down there that's so damn fast. But so they got to, the interesting thing is Super Bowl winners, great quarterback, and you lost your running back. So that's priority number one to me in the draft for them. Now, would they take an edge rusher if the best edge rusher is still on the board? Keep in mind, of course, Super Bowl champs, they draft last. But I think, yes, they would take an edge rusher, Pete, because they do need that. But it's edge rusher and it's running back for Seattle Seahawks. It's not like we got to start over. Nope, just got to plug and play.
Mhm.
Everything else still works. They got Smith and Jigba or whatever his name is, Pete. You know, that great wide receiver. They gave JSN a whatever, 140 million or 180 million dollar deal.
It was huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, they've got who they need, and they've got Cooper Kupp still too, who loves playing back in his home state again. So I think that this will be a really interesting, there's a lot of players that people know.
Yeah.
And especially with JSN, you know, getting that huge contract and Darnold and everything else, people know a lot of these names, and they're going to learn a lot of those defensive players' names, Pete, because those are the guys that were shutting it down all year long for Seattle. And those are some big, mean dudes.
Yeah. Well, and they lost, you know, like everybody, every team's going to lose players and sign players and everything else. But they did, you brought up Kenny Walker, who is about as good as it gets. I've seen a patient running back ever in my life, John. The fact that he basically takes the ball and he's walking practically to where the offensive line is, and then he hits it and he starts just moving around. I mean, I've never seen anything quite like it. It's cool. I got an opportunity to watch him at Michigan State before he actually got into the professional football, but it's amazing. And they lost a couple of guys. They lost a guy who's got a famous name, but Kobe Bryant, who's a safety for them, they lost him. They lost an edge rusher who played at the University of Minnesota, Boye Mafe, who was a Minnesota born and raised kid, big, strong edge rusher. So without him, you know what they might do? They do exactly what you just said is, if it's an edge rusher that's there when they pick, great. If it's a corner or maybe a safety or whatever, because they lost a corner as well, they might be considering it. So they've got a few things on their plate that they're gonna have to fill some spots for sure. But anyway, when it comes time and they've already done the draft and everything else, and it's now back into like August, I can't wait for this whole thing to start up again. Yeah, this Hard Knocks I think is really, really cool. And they've been doing it for a long time, and it just gets better every year.
I agree. Well, we'll get started with another Rebels Edge tomorrow, folks. And like Pete's already said, we're expecting a lot to be happening next week because tomorrow's April Fool's. It's the 1st of April. So 5 days hence, we're expecting something. We'll see if it happens in that time frame or it even happens over the weekend, Pete.
Yep.
So cross your fingers, and we'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.